Welcome to the podcast, folks. Today we're diving into how a new AI tool on Google Search is upending the internet as we know it. It's like, if the web were a garden, Google is suddenly being both the gardener and the
Yeah,
weather.
I'm really excited to dig into this. So what's at the heart of this change?
Well, Google is now introducing something called AI mode. Instead of showing you a list of links, it gives you a chatbot-generated answer, almost like a mini article to your
hmm
query.
That's a major shift, right? Traditional search results have been driving one of the internet's key bargains for decades.
Exactly. You see, for near 30 years, websites allowed Google's bots to crawl and index their content free of charge in exchange for directing users their way. And up to 68% of internet activity starts on search engines, and roughly 90% of searches happen on Google.
Right. So with this new AI tool, it's almost like Google is rewriting the rules on what that bargain even is.
Yep, that's spot on. And critics are warning that if AI mode goes live as the default without modifications, it could, say, decimate, well, the way content creators actually get paid.
hmm I've heard some people like Lily Ray saying it might even be an apocalypse for websites. What do you think?
Lily Ray, who's a VP over at an SEO firm, argues that if this becomes the norm, it'll basically slash the revenue for millions of publishers because the click-through rates could drop anywhere from 30% to 70%. Imagine that. Billions fewer clicks translating to less ad revenue and ultimately fewer jobs.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, if the AI just gives you the answer, why would anyone click through to the original website?
Precisely. And when you think about it, this effect has already started. There have been reports of a significant rise in zero-click searches, where users never visit a website after the search.
Yeah, right. But Google's take is that this will actually expand opportunities, isn't it?
Absolutely. Google insists that the AI enhancements make search more satisfying by allowing more complex follow-up queries and, in theory, creating a healthier, more dynamic web ecosystem. They've even pointed out that billions of clicks still make their way to websites every day.
hmm That sounds almost too optimistic. I mean, isn't there a risk that the quality of information might actually suffer?
Right. And that's where things get interesting. Critics, including people like Giselle Navarro, argue that the machine web could reduce the diversity of sources available to us. It's like asking a librarian for a book, but instead of exploring different options, you're just handed a summary.
Yeah, that analogy really hits home. It makes you wonder, what happens to the serendipity of stumbling upon something new online?
Exactly. The beauty of the open web has been in those unexpected rabbit holes you fall down. Now, with AI generating answers up front, you could end up with a more closed, flatter digital landscape.
hmm And let's not ignore that there are already voices in the digital marketing world cautioning that once this AI mode becomes standard, even smaller sites might see their entire revenue models crumble.
True. For instance, experts like Barry Adams have used words like decimation when talking about the potential drop in clicks. It's a stark reminder that websites have relied on this model for a long time.
Right. I'm wondering, though, there are some who think this could lead to an improved business model for web content. How valid is that perspective?
Well, coupled with the point that Google is testing these waters, there's speculation that new forms of direct compensation could emerge. Big publishers are already striking deals with tech giants for content licensing, though these deals mostly benefit massive players rather than the little guys.
hmm So you're saying that while on one hand AI mode might streamline user experience, it simultaneously threatens the economic viability of countless websites?
Yes, that's the crux of the debate. Google says AI mode offers deeper answers and lets people ask more nuanced questions, but critics warn it risks creating filter bubbles where, you get only the information that the AI thinks you want to see.
Yeah, I get that. And speaking of filter bubbles, there's also the concern that AI might not accurately represent all perspectives. It could, in effect, become like an echo chamber.
Right. And some research suggests that as the technical abilities of AI improve, so do incidents of hallucinations, where the AI fabricates details. For instance, There were moments when AI overviews gave absurd advice, like eating rocks or mentioning glue in recipes.
That's wild. Are those just glitches or signs of a deeper flaw in relying on AI for answers?
It might be both. Google defends itself by saying these issues are being rapidly addressed and that overall accuracy is on par with traditional methods, but skeptics aren't entirely convinced.
Yeah. And then there's the whole debate about content ownership, isn't there? Some say that AI is essentially profiting off of content creators without compensating them.
Exactly. Danielle Coffey from the News Media Alliance outright calls the AI answers a substitute for the original content, arguing that it's, essentially theft. Websites are having to choose between being part of Google search or protecting their content.
There's also that legal angle with Google facing court decisions about monopolistic practices, right?
Yes, indeed. Google's been under scrutiny for monopolistic control, and there's even talk of splitting up the company. And while Google remains defiant, saying they're the foremost champions of the open web, critics point out that the proprietary control they exert is exactly what's imperiling that openness.
Right, exactly. I have to ask, though, don't you think, respectfully, that some of these concerns might be overstated? I mean, hasn't the web weathered plenty of storms before?
That's a fair challenge. The internet has indeed survived multiple upheavals, like the rise of smartphones and social media doomsday predictions from a decade ago. But this feels different because it strikes at the very core of how websites earn their keep.
Yep, I see your point. And I suppose if AI becomes the primary way we get information, it might force us and the creators to rethink everything about online content.
Absolutely. Some argue that this is a call to revolutionize how we value and pay for content, maybe even creating direct compensation models. But currently, it's the little content creators who stand to lose the most if AI mode becomes widespread without adjustments.
Do we have any idea about how consumers are reacting? I mean, is there evidence that people prefer the AI-style answers over traditional search?
Yes, there have been surveys, like one noting that nearly 72% of Americans sometimes use AI tools as a replacement for traditional search engines. Google themselves claim that users are happier with the AI summaries and end up searching more frequently than before.
Right, that's interesting. So it's really a mixed bag. On one side, you get convenience and deeper queries, and on the other, a potential loss of depth and reduced revenue for the open web.
Precisely. And then there's the long-term picture. We could be entering what some are calling the machine web, a world designed more for AI consumption and less for human browsing, with content structured to be easily parsed by chatbots rather than enjoyed by humans.
That paints a pretty dramatic picture of the future. I guess, as with most big shifts, it's about weighing the pros and cons.
Definitely. There's no crystal ball here. What Google champions as an evolution could just as easily become an exodus for content creators. But it all boils down to what users demand and how quickly the ecosystem adapts.
Yeah, true. And while we're all waiting to see how this plays out, maybe we owe it to ourselves as users and creators to push for a model that's fairer to everyone.
Exactly. It's a moment fraught with risk, but also ripe with opportunity. A chance to, build a new coalition that could redefine digital content and its value on the open web.
Right on. Well, it seems like this transformation is already underway, and regardless of how you view it, our digital lives are in for some major changes.
Absolutely. And as we navigate this brave new world, staying informed and engaged will be more crucial than ever. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And here's to watching the internet evolve before our very eyes.
Thanks.